This proposal relates to something that we call administrative errors, which is a specific type of violation within the NAI. So there are two things that can meet this definition of administrative error and essentially be treated as a lesser type of a penalty than a full-blown eligibility violation. So the first kind of administrative error is when a team competes but has not actually submitted its official eligibility certificate, but does so within 5 days of that first competition. So another way to say that would be the team competes and has just forgotten to submit their eligibility certificate, but does so within 5 days, and it absolutely assumes that all of those students are truly eligible. They've met all academic requirements and those sorts of things to be on the field. Their paperwork just wasn't in. The second type of administrative error is when a team has submitted its eligibility certificate appropriately, but maybe a particular student or a group of students were left off of that initial certificate. Maybe they were still waiting on transcripts to come in or that kind of thing. So they were left off of the original certificate, but then that individual student or students do go out and compete. So there's no deadline that applies to the second type of administrative error, but at some point after the student competes, it's identified that they failed to appear on an eligibility certificate. Again, those students have to be eligible in all other ways. They just don't appear on the appropriate paperwork. So a few years ago, there was a task force that evaluated violations and penalties within the NAIA and applied a type of penalty that would occur when there is an administrative error. And so for a few years now, we have had rules in place that say when an administrative error occurs, there is no penalty to the student athlete. However, the coach does have to be withheld from a competition. Under this proposal, it would limit the application of that coach withholding to only apply to one of the type of administrative errors. So that would only be when the situation happens, that second type of administrative error that I mentioned, where the certificate for the team is in, but a particular student or a group of students is left off of a certificate. Only in those situations would a coach have to be withheld from an upcoming competition. And the thought process there is that the coach is sort of the final administrator or reviewer of those certificates, and also knowing who is about to step foot on the field, so that ultimately the coach is responsible for those types of administrative errors.